4:11 p.m., Gulf of Aden. The sea looked calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that only exists right before something breaks. 50 miles ahead of the American carrier formation, a single destroyer cut through the water like a blade. No headlines. No cameras. No drama. Just duty. Just silence. Just steel moving forward. USS Sterett wasn't supposed to be the story that day. It was just the shield. The ship that goes first, so others don't have to. Behind her, over the horizon, the Armada moved in formation. A floating city of power, aircraft carrier, amphibious assault ship, cruisers, support vessels, thousands of sailors and marines, billions of dollars in hardware, and one simple mission: get through, no matter what. But on the Yemeni coast, 6 separate launch crews were already counting down. January 27, 2026, 3:41 p.m. local time. In a dim operations room outside Sana'a, Houthi commanders leaned over digital maps glowing red and blue. Satellite images, tracking overlays, American ships marked clearly, confidently. They believed this moment belonged to them. For weeks, their propaganda videos had spread across encrypted channels. Burning ships, slow-motion explosions, flags waving in smoke. Each clip ending with the same message, written in English and Arabic. Soon, Iranian advisors had whispered reassurance. American defenses are stretched. One destroyer cannot stop everything. Hit the escort, break the shield. The carrier will hesitate. They chose their target carefully. USS Sterett, forward screen, 50 miles ahead of the carrier, alone enough to look vulnerable. At 3:41 p.m., the final authorization came through. No speeches, no debate, just one sentence: fire. At 3:42 p.m., the Gulf of Aden changed forever. From 6 different locations across Yemen, missile launchers erupted in fire almost simultaneously. Coastal batteries, mountain platforms, inland mobile units hidden for months. 22 anti-ship cruise missiles lifted into the air. Sea-skimming, radar-hugging, designed to fly low, fast, and unseen. Chinese-built variants, modified, upgraded, tuned for one purpose: kill a destroyer. The missiles arced briefly, then dropped toward the surface of the water, disappearing into ground clutter and curvature. From the Houthi command post, cheers broke out. 22 missiles. One ship, no escape. They believed the math was simple. They were wrong. 8 seconds. That's all it took. At 3 hours 42 minutes and 8 seconds p.m., USS Sterett's SPY-6 radar lit up. Not a blip. Not a glitch. A wall. Multiple launches. Multiple vectors. Tight spacing. The combat system didn't hesitate. Vampire. 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 The alarm tore through the ship. Commander Elena Ruiz, Sterett's captain, was already moving before the words finished echoing. General quarters. This is not a drill. All hands to battle stations. Red lights flooded passageways. Watertight doors slammed shut. Crew members ran, trained motions taking over. On screens in Combat Information Center, 22 tracks resolved clearly. Bearing confirmed. Altitude low. Speed steady. All aimed at them. 12 miles away, another radar picked them up. USS Ralph Johnson. The sister ship turned immediately. Sterett, this is Johnson. We have your tracks. Engaging in support, the shield just became thicker. Above them, 4 FA-18 Super Hornets were already airborne, flying combat air patrol. Pilots had watched the Houthi video that morning like everyone else. They didn't need further explanation. Lincoln Control, this is Viper 1. We see the tracks. Weapons hot. Fighter jets don't normally hunt cruise missiles. But nothing about this day was normal. At 3 hours 42 minutes and 29 seconds p.m., Sterett fired first. 8 SM-2 interceptors tore out of their vertical launch cells, accelerating straight up before snapping toward the horizon. Seconds later, Ralph Johnson added 6 more. 14 interceptors racing against 22 attackers. The math still looked ugly. At 40 kilometers out, the first impacts blossomed. White flashes against blue water. 4 missiles gone. Then 5. Then 6. But the swarm kept coming. The missiles didn't maneuver wildly. They didn't panic. They just kept coming. 15 kilometers. 12. 10. Ram systems active. Rolling airframe missiles screamed off both destroyers. Agile, violent, unforgiving. 7 more attackers vanished in midair. Debris rained into the sea like metallic hail. But now it was close. Too close. 8 kilometers. Seconds mattered now. Phalanx CIWS systems spun up, the sound rising from a hum to a roar. Walls of tungsten poured into the air. 3 missiles shredded instantly. 1 remained. Just 1. 2 kilometers. Electronic warfare kicked in. Jammers screamed. Chaff burst into clouds of deception. The final missile wobbled, lost lock, dipped, and slammed into the water 900 meters off Sterrett's bow, detonating harmlessly. At 3:44 p.m., the sea went quiet again. 22 missiles fired, 22 destroyed. No damage, no casualties. Perfect defense. But the fight wasn't over, not even close. Because while the missiles were still in the air, America had already answered. At 3:42 p.m., while the last Houthi missile was still flying toward the water, a different kind of response was already underway. Quiet, coordinated, ruthless. No speeches, no warnings. No countdowns broadcast to the enemy. Just execution. Deep inside the command center of the USS Abraham Lincoln, the decision had already been made. This wasn't retaliation. This was prevention. Admiral Thomas Reynolds watched the live feed from Sterrett's radar screens. 22 inbound tracks, all defeated. A flawless defense. He didn't smile. Authorized Guardian response? He said calmly. That was it. 1 sentence. Years of planning activated. Airborne. At 3:43 p.m., the Lincoln's flight deck erupted into controlled chaos. Catapults fired in rapid succession. 16 Fi-18E Super Hornets launched first, each loaded with a heavy mix of precision strike weapons. Behind them, 8 F-35C Lightning II stealth fighters lifted into the sky, invisible to enemy radar before they even reached altitude. Electronic warfare aircraft followed, E-18G Growlers. Their mission was simple: blind everything. At the same time, USS Bataan came alive. 1Z Viper attack helicopters spun up on deck. UH-1Y transports lifted with Marines on board. This wasn't just air power. This was combined force warfare, executed at speed. At 3:44 p.m., the Growlers went to work. Across western Yemen, radar screens went dark. Operators stared at static. Systems rebooted. Antennas searched for signals that no longer existed. Then the anti-radiation missiles hit. 32 AGM-88 HARMs slammed into radar sites along the coast and deep inland. Each missile homed in on whatever dared to emit a signal. Every radar that tried to wake up died seconds later. By 3:46 p.m., the Houthis were blind. They didn't know what was coming. Only that something was. The Super Hornets crossed the coastline at high altitude, weapons already released. They didn't need to fly low. They didn't need to get close. Joe glide bombs peeled away silently, drifting toward their targets like judgment. The first impacts struck the Hodeida Coastal Missile Battery. Launchers disappeared. Command bunkers collapsed inward. Secondary explosions rolled for minutes. At Mocha, another battery vanished under precision strikes. In Taiz, a mountain launcher site folded into rubble. In Aden, a command node went dark forever. Every location that had fired at Sterett was hit simultaneously. No escape, no survivors coordinating another shot. At 3:49 p.m., the destroyers spoke. USS Sterett and USS Ralph Johnson opened their vertical launch systems. Tomahawk cruise missiles rose cleanly, turned inland, and vanished toward their targets. 48 missiles. Multiple trajectories. Different altitudes. Houthi naval headquarters near Hodeida ceased to exist. Port facilities erupted into fireballs visible from miles away. Fuel depots burned uncontrollably. The Houthis had attacked from the sea. Now the sea was answering. At 3:52 p.m., the F-35 arrived. No radar warning. No alarms. 16 Stormbreaker bombs fell onto a hardened leadership complex near Sana'a, where authorization for the attack had been given. The building collapsed in on itself. Inside were men who believed distance protected them. It didn't. Elsewhere, training camps were erased. Barracks flattened. Facilities that taught anti-ship warfare simply stopped existing. Down near the coast, Houthi fast attack boats attempted to flee Hodeida Harbor. They didn't get far. Viper helicopters cut across the water at low altitude, Hellfire missiles dropping one by one. Boats exploded, fuel ignited, wreckage burned. Every platform that had once threatened shipping was gone in minutes. At 3:56 p.m., Marines touched Yemeni soil. 80 operators moved fast, securing the remains of a destroyed missile site. Documents were collected. Electronics seized. Coordination links confirmed. Iranian involvement was no longer suspected. It was proven. By 3:59 p.m., the Marines were gone. No pursuit, no prolonged presence. The message wasn't occupation. It was consequence. At 4:06 p.m., the last strike package launched. Targets were no longer tactical. They were structural, command centers, fuel hubs, communications relays. By 4:13 p.m., it was over. Exactly 31 minutes after the first missile launch, 8 primary Houthi military bases destroyed, multiple command centers eliminated, naval infrastructure erased, missile capability neutralized, hundreds of fighters killed, senior leadership removed. No American losses. USS Sterett continued forward without a scratch. Behind her, the Armada never slowed. The Red Sea remained open. The Houthis had said, soon. America answered with now. No warnings, no negotiations, no second chances. Attack the shield, and the response isn't measured. It's absolute. On January 27th, 2026, the Gulf of Aden learned a lesson it won't forget.